so she's with ABC News. He goes on, and they get into what's happening in Aurora, Colorado, and all of these Venezuelans who have been brought there by our government in cooperation with the city of Denver, outside of which Aurora is, and some influx of thousands. I read an estimated 8,000 Venezuelan immigrants into this small town, and they've taken over some 3 apartment complexes, and there are serious criminal problems. I mean, serious criminal problems. We covered this before after Chris Rufo wrote a great piece in City Journal about this about a month ago, along with Christina Buttons. It's called Chaos in Aurora. It's dated September 10th, for those of you who want to Google it. And it talks about, they write in this piece about the amount of crime that's gone up as a result. They got their hands on a confidential legal report based on witness reports that these apartments saw a string of crimes, including trespassing, assault, extortion, drug use, illegal firearm possession, human trafficking, and the sexual abuse of minors. And then there's been a localized spike in crime around the apartment complexes. So this has been in the news because Trump has raised it. It's sort of another like Springfield, or you mentioned what's happening in Pennsylvania earlier, MBD, and now here we are in Aurora, Colorado. These are real life people being affected by these immigration policies that Biden and Harris have. And this is what happened because the mayor of Aurora, who's a Republican, who doesn't like Trump, he lost his bid for Congress. Trump didn't like him. They were feuding. Got out there and was like, it's a problem, but it's limited. And she brought that up in an interview with JD Vance. Look what happened.
So do you support Donald Trump making those claims that the Republican mayor says were grossly exaggerated?
President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened. Martha, I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs.
Okay, let's just end that with they did not invade or take over the city, as Donald Trump said. I want to move on to
just a few apartment complexes, no big deal.
A few apartment complexes that the mayor did not seem was invading the entire city.
She doesn't care about any of the crimes I just listed. And you know why she doesn't care, Charlie? You do know why. It's because Martha Raddatz, for at least the past 7 years, has lived in a house she paid $2.125 million for. It's a vintage home on a coveted block in Arlington, Virginia. Would you look at this? It's an estate. That's her home. It's a damn estate. Built in 1900. Look at this. Martha Raddatz does not have to worry about the Venezuelan gangs coming in and committing sexual assaults of minors, because she's in the toniest part of one of the toniest towns in all of America with her many, many millions.
I mean, look, there is obviously a reasonable debate to be had about many things in this country, but whether or not Venezuelan gangs should take over apartment blocks is not really one of them. And whether or not the government is obliged to try and prevent that is not one of them either. I mean, this is both at the border a federal question and at the state level a state question. And I think on this, Vance is absolutely right. If you are more worried about the hyperbole from Trump than you are that this is happening, then you've missed the forest from the trees. You have gone so far down the road of partisan politics that you've just forgotten what it is that we're talking about. Trump should be as accurate as he can be. I think it is a problem the way he speaks sometimes, but I mean, this is just, just do you hear yourself was the right question.
For the record, what Trump said was, I will rescue Aurora and every town that has been invaded and conquered, which I think is defensible as a matter of the
it's defensible, but look, if you want, what she should have said at the end there is, so, you know, Trump used some hyperbole, but the issue that he was describing is real, and she couldn't do it. She finishes with this sort of, haha, got you, because what he said isn't literally true. But that doesn't fix the problem, which is that Venezuelan gangs have come into the country illegally and taken over some apartment blocks in Aurora, Colorado. And it's just baffling to me that she can't see it.
And they've been brought in. They've been brought in by our government, MBD. I mean, read the City Journal piece. They lay it all out about how, with the cooperation of the Colorado governor and these mayors and these subsidized NGOs, which they then get paid millions by our federal government with our money. The NGOs take all these millions and are supposed to house these people and give them 2 months rent. And then they stay over beyond the 2 months and they don't have jobs. And then they just become the community's problem. I mean, read the piece. Obviously, she didn't, and she doesn't care. But I'll give you one person. Her name is Cindy Romero, and she lived in these apartment complexes. She appeared at the Trump rally in Aurora, Colorado. And listen to what she said.
I was a lifetime Democrat. I'm ashamed to say that I thought that this was a solution. Being called a liar has changed. It's changed me. It's changed my opinion. I was harassed in my properties. We were run out of our home after 4 years. The loud music, the destruction, the gunshots, the crime. We need a change. What they're doing isn't working. Danielle came in and saved me. And like so many others in my building, we had no place to go. As a lifetime Democrat, this experience has opened my eyes. And we've got to make a change. We've got to. I'm voting for Trump. Join me. Join me and vote for Trump. Let's have change.
Take it from her. We've got actual people, once again, being actually affected by this administration's, this one right now that's running for re-election, policies. And what Martha Raddatz wants to do is score little points from her multi-million-dollar perch on behalf of the illegals with whom she has such sympathy, such sympathy, but none for the children who got sexually molested, none for Cindy, whose life was ruined by this.
None. And, you know, Trump and Vance have been doing events like this, going city to city and highlighting people who've been affected by these policies. It's very effective campaigning, and it brings up what they really have to do if they are elected to office, which is break up this nexus of government spending given to NGOs who then work very purposely with hundreds of professionals to undermine the rule of law. Because that's essentially what's happening, is the administration, you know, will create an app that allows people to falsely apply for asylum and facilitate them into the country, fly them from the border, put them in a town like Aurora, where they're networked in by an NGO to employers of illegal immigrants, to slumlords who profit off of this. Many of those slumlords are going to be found sitting on the town boards, or they're going to be found in mayor's offices. I mean, look to Springfield, Ohio. What properties does the owner of Springfield, the mayor of Springfield, Ohio, own? How many people live in them? You know, these are questions that have to be asked by conservative journalists going forward in breaking up this nexus, because it's incredibly powerful. It works as an employment program for progressives at the NGO level, where lawyers, experts, social workers, people with degrees in social justice get actual work. But they're working alongside of, you know, typically old line Republican people, the owners of these tough businesses, you know, packaging plants, tire makers. There are all sorts of jobs that they're using illegal immigration as a way of undercutting the wages and lowering the general standard of living in a town against the wishes of the middle class people that live there. And they're doing so in a totally open conspiracy against the law. And that's what Donald Trump has to break up and expose when he's in office, if he's going to get anywhere with this problem.
I mean, look at the states that we're discussing this happening in so far. Colorado, Ohio, Pennsylvania. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but all three of those states have something in common, which is they're very important in presidential politics and electoral politics, especially Pennsylvania. But also, to a lesser extent, Ohio's gone more red and Colorado's gone more blue. But especially on the lower tickets, they're gettable. They're gettable by parties on both sides. And it is disturbing when you see the number of immigrants who are being shipped by the feds into these potential swing states. Did you want to say something, MBD?
And they're being shipped there with this temporary protected status, which is a gateway towards some kind of legal status and then citizenship that kind of skips over the normal steps that, say, Charlie went through to get a green card and eventually become a citizen.
You know how much my family and I love our dogs. Yes, even Strudwick. It's been especially bad lately. Read the newsletter. There's an update. I can't imagine life without them, though sometimes I do. Not Thunder, but sometimes. But I love him. I love him, and I do enjoy most of my time with them. Look, my dogs have a great life. I'm sure your dogs have a great life too. But you and I both know that some dogs are not so lucky. This is why I'm so glad to tell you about Delta Rescue. I love Delta Rescue. Whenever you donate to anyone who claims to take care of animals, you've got to look for the words no kill. No kill. Otherwise, you know what happens if nobody adopts the dog or the cat. This, Delta Rescue, is the largest no-kill, care for life animal sanctuary in the world. They've rescued thousands of dogs, cats, horses too. They provide all the animals with shelter and safety and most of all, love. And they've been doing it now for more than 45 years. Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions, and giving can bring tax benefits too. Speak with your estate planner about how you can grow your estate while helping animals in need, and check out the estate planning tab on their website to learn more. We love Thunder and Strudwick, but would love for other dogs who need care and attention and a home to find those too. Visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. That's deltarescue.org. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.